Muting, and we're going to get started. And as always, we'll just find that soft, comfortable seated position. So we're going to do a little bit of activation into the core at the beginning of our practice today. So I'd like to soften into the neck and shoulders. So just find that easy sitting position. Hips are soft, knees are relaxed. And we're just going to start by rolling the shoulders all the way up by the ears, back and down. Let's go ahead and do that a few times. And then take it in the other direction. Let that head move around a little bit. We're just loosening up here. Go ahead and just interlace your fingers up overhead. We're going to place the hands just at the base of the skull, keeping that long spine. Just gently let the elbows drop forward. With the arms, just bring a little bit of weight so that the chin starts reaching towards the top of the sternum. And take a few breaths here. Then you can start looking from side to side, nice and slow. Looking towards the left and then looking towards the right. Gently release those arms and lift the head. You're going to take one ear over to the same side shoulder. And then let the chin drop towards the chest. Take it around full circles. So our goal here is that the shoulders stay relaxed. And the head just rolls freely like a ball at the end of a string. And then take it over to the other direction. Many times we can have a tendency to hold a lot of stress in the neck, especially when we're going to do core kind of work on our back. So we're just priming the body. And release. All right, we're just going to take those feet out in front of us and just gently start coming back. You can hold on to the knees. We're going to activate into the core. So draw the belly button back towards the spine, roll the shoulders back and down, and lift the heart. Just begin to come back gently. We're going to lift those legs up. Have the lower legs parallel to the floor. And then we're going to drop down just as much as you feel. If you start to notice a rounding in the back, or that the integrity of drawing in the abdominal muscles lessens and they start to pouch out, you want to come back up. So we want to see if we can keep everything pulled in nice and strong. We're going to turn the palms over and we're just going to start pumping the hands. Let's take some breath. This is a Pilates move, so just keep pressing into the hands, and we're going to breathe in for 5 pumps and breathe out for 5. Go ahead and do that a few more times. Floating into that core, very nice. And grab the knees and just come on back for a moment. Soften into the lower back. Release all the muscles along the spine. Let's come on up again. So remember, you can have the toes down. Legs can be parallel to the floor, the lower legs, or we can straighten them. We just want to avoid a rounding in the back. So whichever position you hold for your Navasana boat pose, we're going to focus on the inhale, lifting up at the chest, And the exhale, stretching out at the toes. Inhale, exhale. Holding one as you focus on the other. And bring it in. Woo. And we're gonna come up, we're gonna do a little bit of an oblique focus here. So we can come back up, you can let your toes rest. So what we're gonna do with the arms, rather than having them straight out, we're gonna rock onto one hip and the arms come off to the other side. Nice. Now, we're gonna lower, straighten the legs and lower the shoulders, keeping that twist. Come back up. It's okay to bend the knees. It's even okay to tap the toes. And let's do that 3 more times. See if you can maintain the balance on the side of that hip. Up. 1 more time. And take it down into a little ball. And then come up and we'll set up for the other side. Once you've found that hip bone, lift the toes, stretch those arms, and slowly extend, and bring it back up. Nice. Awesome. All right, so what we're gonna do next is something called roll-ups. So we're gonna sit with the legs extended and the spine tall. Reach up overhead. Keeping the ears in between your arms, round into the back, as if you had a big beach ball in your hands and you were trying to put it, just drop it over on the outside of your feet. And come up. We're gonna lay one vertebra down at a time, keeping those arms next to the ears. And then gently bring it up. And place the beach ball. So just go ahead and do this a few more times. Your own breath's pace. Noticing any areas where you might be feeling a little bit of tightness in the back. Any areas where you feel like you have to give a little to get up. And just notice those spots. All right, roll those knees up to the chest. You can slide the hands behind the knees, and we're just gonna rock like a little rocking chair. And then however it may feel best for you, we're gonna come over onto the hands and knees. Couple cat-cows here. Knees beneath the hips, wrists beneath the shoulders. We drop that low part of the ribs towards the floor, lifting the head and the sit bones. And around the back as you pull the head through towards the pubic bone. Go ahead and do this a few times. See if you can get a little bit deeper each time you go through the cycle. If you're ready to bring the breath into the movement, exhale presses the spine to the sky, and the inhale opens the heart. Turn your toes over. We're going to press into the feet, lift up the knees, and push back into a downward facing dog. Alternate pressing one heel down at a time. And let's just focus on the hands for a moment. The fingers are spread wide. And see if you can really press the base of your pointer finger. See if that can be your main point of the weight falling into the hand. Press into the hands, lengthen along the arms. Soft bend stays in the elbows, but roll the shoulders away from the ears. And then let the hips sit back. You can bend those knees as deeply as you want. Lifting the sit bones up towards the sky and reaching the heels towards the floor. All right, we're gonna come forward into a plank. You can always drop to the knees here if you would like. And then we're gonna push back into our downward facing dog. Inhale forward to the plank. Notice how the weight wants to shift in the hands. See if you can keep the activation. Grip into the fingertips. And push it back to downward facing dog. Good, another little cycle here. Inhale forward to plank. Feel free to drop to the knees. Exhale, press back to downward dog. 2 more times. Exhaling back. Nice and smooth movement here. And when you return to downward facing dog, drop to the knees and sink into a child's pose. You can come to the elbows, lift the hands up, and give the wrists some movement here. Notice any areas where there may be some tension in the wrists. Could be a good indication of where you may be finding the weight landing in your hands and giving you some opportunity to bring more awareness into pushing into those fingertips. Let's come on up into our tabletop. Turn the toes over. Press into downward dog. Forward into plank. Drop to the knees and sink into child's pose. Good. Let's come up. Let's pull the chest forward here. You can either come into a cow pose or bring it forward into a little mini cobra pose. Exhale, turns the toes over, press into your downward facing dog. Inhale forward into your plank. And exhale, drop the knees into child's pose. Let's see how we can do our flow. Inhale, bring the chest forward. Exhale, press into downward facing dog. Inhale forward to your plank. You can even bend into a chaturanga if you want to here. Exhale back into child's pose. One more time through. Inhale, bring the heart through. Exhale, press into downward dog. Inhale, plank or chaturanga. Exhale, child's pose. Great, we're gonna come up onto our knees. Get into a little bit of a side action here. Bending into the side body. We warmed it up with our side boat pose. We're gonna take the left leg, reach it out to the side. Lift the arms out. We're gonna drop the fingertips onto that straight leg. Lift the hand up, getting long from the knee up to the fingertips, and then allowing that stretch of the side bend to come a little bit deeper. Come on back to center. And let's open off to the side. Extended side angle. Fingertips and those toes are going to reach as far as they can from each other. And bring it up. Drop it to the other side. Return. Nice little flow back and forth. See if you can stay grounded in the legs and let the core move the upper body. One more time, lengthen, 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 and come back to center. We're going to switch those legs. Foot is flat, toes are pointed forward. Shoulders drop away from the ears. Fingertips come down. And we lift and lengthen. Great. And back to center. Take it over to the other side. And up. Over. Couple more times. Great. When the hand comes down to the ground, we're going to let this other one roll around. We're going to step back into our plank, push back to downward facing dog, bring the feet forward. Halfway lift. Deep fold. All right, those fingertips are going to touch onto the ground. We're going to heel toe the feet apart. Toes are going to point 45 degrees out. And we're just going to come down into a squat. So your heels can lift up here. Fingertips stay down. Go ahead and lift. So press those sit bones straight up. Heels come back down. And squat. We're going to get some warmth here. So on the inhale, you straighten the legs, and on the exhale, bring it down. Inhale, exhale. We're going to keep this going until we feel a lot of warmth in those hips. Pressing, lengthening. And let's stay up. Let's turn those toes forward. Walk the fingers out, about 6 inches. We're going to lift the left leg up behind us. Keeping the fingers on the ground. We're going to make that squat a little bit more powerful now. Place the ankle to the back of the standing leg and squat. Inhale, reach it out. Exhale, squat. 2 more. Your breath's pace. See if you can make the action smooth and long. And bring that foot down to the next. And let's do it on the other side. Reach. Bend the knee. Inhale, reach. Exhale, squat. We call these Shiva squats. Inhale, reach. Exhale. 1 more. And step back. Halfway lift. Deep fold. Sweep the arms up. And come back into a Tadasana. We're going to take our feet wide. And turn the toes out 45 degrees. Let those hips sway side to side. So we just warmed into the hips so we could get a little bit of rotation. So I bring your arms up overhead. We're going to bend into your left knee and take the hands down to the floor here. And just get nice and deep. Press into the feet, bring it back up to center. Bend into the right leg. Hands come down. Support and deepen into that nice stretch. So let's just see how we can feel that pendulum swing. So before we come up, we press into the feet, lift the hips up a bit, core activate, sweep the arms up. Great. Pivot the feet gently so that you can start to come down. Core is activating as we bend and hands come down. Yes. So we're just going to sweep from one side to the other. You can see my feet are pivoting as I come up. One foot turns as I head down, the other foot turns. Yes. Great. When you get down to the other side, let's just walk it back and forth. And see if we can soften into the hips when we have those hands supporting. Come back to center, press into the feet, nice forward fold. And bring it up. Toes 45 degrees, hands on the thighs. We're gonna bend the knees out so that they come over top of the ankles. This is our goddess pose. Sweep the arms up and come down. Great. Here's our inhale. Here's our exhale. So, our goal is to keep the back straight as if you were sliding along with your back against a wall. And in doing so, you might not be able to come down as deeply. That's fine. Great. All right. So, let's move into a flow in that wide stance. So lift those arms up, overhead. Shoulders are going to roll back and down, and then they want to scoop forward as if they were reaching around from behind to hug us. See if you can feel that sensation. Back, down, and then the shoulder blades want to hug up from down below the armpits. All right. Let's exhale and come into goddess. And then inhale, come back up. Towards your left. Exhale, bend that left knee. And we're gonna sweep it through. We call these around the world. Look at this great big circle. Back to center. And goddess. Bring it up. Other direction, here we go. Here's our exhale. And inhale on the way up. Exhale, goddess. Sweep it up. And another direction. Up. Goddess. Finding the smoothness. Very nice. Other side. Seeing if you can find some deepness in the hips as we keep this nice, warm motion happening. Last time. And forward fold. And just walk the hands from side to side, keeping those legs straight. Stretching into the back of the legs. Walk your hands to your left foot. Turn the toes so that you face the hands. Step back to a downward dog. You can drop to the knees. Come into a child's pose for just a breath or two. Grab a drink. And find the breath. Long, smooth. Press up to the hands and knees. Sure, the toes over. Press into downward facing dog. And walk or hop those feet forward. Halfway lift. Deep fold. Sweep it up. And back. All right, we're going to move into some sun salutation flow. Reaching up and forward fold. Halfway lift. Downward facing dog. We're going to lift the left leg up. Step it forward. Drop the back knee. Draw the inner thighs towards each other and reach up into our low lunge. Bracing into the core. Core activation is going to help protect that lower back. So our goal is to see if we can straighten up the pelvis so that it is straight up and down. Feeling that stretch all the way down that back quad. Hands come down. Step back to downward facing dog. Other leg lifts and steps. Drop that knee. Pull the thighs together. And then lifting up strong in the core. Feeling that stretch in the iliopsoas. And bringing it back down. Press back to downward facing dog. Look in between the hands. And bring the feet forward. Halfway lift. Deep fold. Sweep it up. And one more time, this time a little more vigorous. Inhale, we reach. Exhale, we forward fold. Halfway lift. Downward facing dog. Inhale, we lift the leg behind us, and exhale, we step it through and drop that back knee. Inhale, we press up into low lunge, and then smooth right back to downward facing dog. Other leg lifts and steps. Drop the knee and come up strong. And return to downward dog. Looking in between those hands, bring the feet forward. Halfway lift. Deep fold. Sweep it up. And awesome. Go ahead and just shake that out a little bit. I think we've warmed up. We're going to move into something called moon salutations. So it will incorporate a couple of the moves that we've already done. And a couple of other ones. So we're going to start off in that nice wide stance. We're going to let those hips just sway back and forth. You're going to draw little circles with them. So we're going to move into that goddess pose. So allow the feet to come out as wide as you know from practicing goddess a bit ago. Your feet would want to be able to have those knees safely bending out to the side. Sweep the arms up. Those toes are at 45 degrees. Come down into your goddess. Beautiful. We're going to sweep up. I'm going to turn my right toes so that they face straight in front of me. My left toes 90 degrees out to the side. Keeping the legs straight, but not locked out at the joints. Arms come out. I'm gonna reach, feeling my hips stacking. Reach the shoulder as if I was trying to hover it above my toes. And then drop my hand and lift the other arm up into triangle pose. Squeezing the inner thighs towards each other like two magnets that just can't resist each other. Locking the feet in and lifting the lower body. Great. Bend the knees slightly as you press into that front foot and bring yourself up into a reverse. Lengthening into this side. We did this on our knees a little earlier. Right, so this back leg is going to step forward about a foot and turn. Now I'm facing into the side with those straightened legs. And I'm gonna work into a pyramid pose. So now I'm pressing into that front foot, giving my back foot half of the weight as my chest floats forward. Hands can be on the waist, or they can press down into the shin. If you are pressing into the shin, super important to keep that bend in the knees and the legs activated. As you lift the heart out over the toes and begin to press the belly towards the thighs. Great. Inhale, bring it up. We're gonna drop the back, or bend the front knee and drop the back knee. Hands come down. And we did this one before, low lunge, sweep it up. Hand comes to the inside of your foot, both hands. And we're gonna twist and pivot and walk the hands to the other side. So roll that other leg straight, walk it to the other side. We're gonna go back the way we just went down on that side. So turn and face this side. Come on up into that low lunge. Yes, hands come down, back foot turns over. You're gonna press up and lift those legs, or lift those arms up high, straightening into the legs. Hands can come to the waist as you hinge forward. Find your pyramid pose. This first time through, let's see if we can find that sweet spot. How deep can you go to really activate? A nice stretch into the back of the leg, while keeping the heart lifted and the lower back protected. Inhale, sweep up, and I'm gonna pivot. So my back foot is gonna step back a foot, toes pointed out in front, as I open up, ready for my triangle pose. Take a couple of little swings side to side here. Feel the hips, and drop into your triangle pose. Pressing into those inner thighs. Notice how when you do that and you squeeze the sit bones together, it pulls the hips forward. If your arm is pressing into the shin, see if you can roll the shoulder away from the ears. We want an external rotation here in both arms. Yes. Press into that front foot, come into our reverse. We're gonna pivot the feet and prepare for your goddess pose. Reaching up and goddess. Great, sweep it up. Let's see if we can do this as a flow. So we're gonna go back the way we just came up. Set up, whoops, don't bend that knee. We have our triangle pose. Good. So we'll just exhale, sink into triangle. Inhale, come back to reverse. And I'm gonna step my foot out. Exhale, drop my hands down and let the knee come down. Go ahead and lift up. Low lunge. Hands come to the inside of the foot as I turn into the hips. Walk it across to the other side and set up for a low lunge in the other direction. Sweep the arms up. Excellent. And then bring those hands down, back foot turns over, pressing up, and lift those arms up overhead. Reset those feet. Come on into your pyramid pose. And sweep it up, back foot opens up so we can set up for triangle pose. Reaching down. You may notice a little bit more flexibility now. And come back to center. Goddess. Let's do it again. Reach it up, back the way we just came. Triangle. Reverse, triangle. And step the back foot out. Twist those hips and come into pyramid. Inhale, sweep that energy up. And exhale, bend the front knee. Drop the back knee. Inhale, low lunge. You got it. Hands come to the inside. Walk it to the other side. Reach up for low lunge. Hands come down, turn the toes over, press up and reach. And pyramid pose. Sweep it up as you open and prepare for triangle. And come on down, sinking into that side bend. And back to center. Goddess. Sweep it up. Come on into a forward fold. Ah, nicely done. All right, we're gonna walk the hands to your left foot. Turn and drop the knee as if you were setting up for that low lunge. Press the hands in. Step back into your downward facing dog. Now that same leg is going to come forward. The knee is going to come to the elbow of the left arm. And then the foot is going to slide across to the right hand. And we're going to drop that leg down. You can adjust it. Doesn't have to be straight across. Into our pigeon pose. So we're dropping our hips down. So I want to give a couple of things to think about. No pain in the knee. Ideally, we want the hips to stay fairly squared, and we want that underside of the thigh to be touching into the ground. If there is pain in the hip or in the knee, just simply lie yourself onto your back, create a figure 4, and give yourself that same stretch with much more opportunity to have control into the joint. So this is your pigeon pose. You can just drop the hips and soften. You can walk the hands further down if that's available. And press into the hands, lifting up the chest. We're going to turn the toes over, come back to downward facing dog, and step it up to the other side, sinking that hip. Just give yourself a few moments to just breathe and soften into the stretch. Again, if it's feeling a little tight, you may have a different sense of tightness or tension in one side and then the other, and that's fine to swap over onto the back and take that figure 4 stretch if needed. If you feel those hips soften, go ahead and drop down to the elbows or even take the chest down. So be mindful in our half pigeon pose that we still want to keep, even if our chest is on the ground, we still want to keep a lifted heart. Keeping that lifted heart and engaged in the core will help focus the stretch into the hip. If we round the back too much, then we end up feeling more of the stretching sensation in the lower back muscles, which could feel good, but our focus in this stretch is to get into the hips, especially since we put so much effort and time into warming them up today. Great, go ahead and press up to the hands. So the fun thing about coming out of this when we're ready to come to the floor is that we don't have to even press back into downward facing dog. We can just roll off onto that hip and sweep that foot around. Feels nice. So we are going to come onto the belly first. So let's just lie. Belly nice and soft into the floor. You can cross the hands and use them as a pillow. Just soften into the back. So we're gonna do a little bit of backside posterior chain work. And so the first thing we're just gonna work on the lower part of the body is begin to press the pubic bone towards the center of the earth. Notice that this tends to really activate into the glutes. So real trick here is to see, as you press the pubic bone into the ground, see if you can soften the glutes, maybe even spread the sit bones away from each other here. Reach down through your right leg, point the toes, and just gently lift the leg up as far up the thigh as you can, keeping that engagement of the pubic bone into the ground. And gently let it go down. Reach through the left foot and begin to lift it up. Again, squaring the hip, so don't let the opposite hip lift up as you raise the leg off of the ground. And reach it down and just completely release it. Soften into the belly. Soften into the hips. Take your hands and reach them out in front of you. So now we're going to reach that left foot out again. Engage into the pubic bone. Soften into the glutes. Lift that leg up and lift the opposite arm up. Seeing if you can really activate into the back body here. Shoulder, chest lifts up off of the ground. And softly release. And let's do it into the other side. Left leg reaches. Right leg reaches back and lifts. And the left arm lifts. Squaring into the center of the body. The hips stay pressed against the floor. And bring it down. Walk the hands up towards the shoulders. Press up into a tabletop and sink into a child's pose. Release into the back body. Take your child's pose however feels best for you. We're going to add a little twist here so that let that left arm just thread through. Turn the palm up towards the sky. Look up underneath of the opposite arm. And just take a nice little twist and shoulder stretch here. When you're ready, take that stretch over to the other side. Finding the transitions between moves that feel right and beneficial in your body. And gently bring yourself up, sitting on the heels. We're going to sweep those feet around. Come on to the back. Feet are going to be close to the hips, just to the outside of the hips. And knees are going to stay in line with the hips, so they won't be pressing together. Hands come down all the way as if the fingertips were reaching to the heels. Go ahead and press the shoulder blades in so that your chest lifts off of the ground. Shoulder blades come off. Walk the shoulders together a little bit. Preparing to head into our bridge pose. We're going to press into the feet and push the pubic bone towards the sky. The goal here is to think about the hip still staying in this upright position in comparison to the legs. So as we press up, don't let the hips tilt, don't let the pelvis tilt. See if you can get the back bend to happen up in the upper body as you walk the shoulders together. And lift. So the spine along the neck should be lifted off of the ground. And the chin should start reaching to the heart, and the heart reaching to the chin. Gently release out of this back bend and pull the knees to the chest. Roll around from one side to the other. Let's let that right leg go straight and the left knee stays nice and tight up towards the chest. And give it some movement. Draw some great big circles with the knee. Just find some new movement. Find some new space in your hips. Sacrum soft and relaxed. And let's switch legs. And this is our time to really begin to create a deeper, more meaningful dialogue with our body. This is where our body might give us some very valuable feedback. So we can use this time to focus into the breath and allow the heart and the mind to open up to the different sensations in the body. We're gonna bring both knees to the chest and then straighten the legs so the feet look as if they were standing on the ceiling. You can wrap your hands around the backs of the thighs or even use a strap here, or if you have a wall handy that you could slide up against and allow the legs to lay up against the wall. Any of those options are fine. So we just bring this nice soft inversion to help soften into the body and quiet the mind. Great. Let's let that right leg come down straight, flat along the floor. Bend the left knee in again. And this time we're going to let the knee cross the body, come to the floor, and we're going to reach back into a nice spinal twist. This is a great pose to soften into and really take a moment to listen to the body. Some people find it's most beneficial for the knee to actually stay in contact with the floor while the shoulder hovers and works its way closer to the ground. And other people enjoy the shoulder staying planted while the knee hovers. You could try it both ways and see which one hits that spot. It's just what your body needs right now. You can use the breath to deepen into the stretch, thinking about on the inhale, the spine gets long. Maybe stretch those toes of the straight leg far, far away. And then on the exhale, draw the belly button back towards the spine and soften deeper into that twist. And gently bring yourself up out of it. Oh, nice. And take that twist over to the other side. So bend the knee and then find your spinal twist, what works best for you. Knee across to the floor, shoulder reaches back, or vice versa. And taking special notice of any differences that you might feel on this side. It's a great way to bring some awareness to maybe some habits that we have in holding our bodies throughout the day. And give us guidance in focusing our practice and find balance back in the body. Begin to lengthen into the breath. Feeling the cleansing action of the inhale and the exhale. Gently bring yourself back onto your back. Pull the knees to the chest. Roll around. Give yourself any other movements that your body may want before coming into your Shavasana, your final meditation pose. Taking a moment or two to just settle into Shavasana, complete release, the letting go, corpse pose. This is the ultimate practice of letting everything go. Allow the breath to just move through the body and the mind and the heart. Releasing any tensions, stress, thoughts, heaviness, all of it, just let go in the moment. Feel it just melting into the earth. The ground absorbs it. Letting go of our expectations. Releasing all the hard effort into your practice today, offering it back into the universe. And feel that safeness, softness, and just being here in this moment with the breath. And gently begin to feel the awareness moving back into the fingers and the toes, and up through the arms and the legs. Stretch the arms up overhead and feel the full length of the torso, awake and refreshed, and exhale. Feel yourself into a little ball and grab the knees, give them a big squeeze, and then roll to one side and just take that moment to set your intentions for the day, for the week. And then gently bring yourself to a seated position. We'll sit with hands at heart and end our practice with one more breath together. Inhale, lift the arms up towards the sky. Exhale, palms come full circle back to the heart. Thumbs lifting to the third eye, bowing to the light that's within all of us. Namaste.